Hello, welcome to episode number 94 of the BigTime Strength Podcast. For our loyal listeners, we are back. It's been a little bit since we've had a podcast, and for that, we do apologize. But I'll explain a little bit more of that later. It's just been a lot going on in both Coach Preston and I's lives. So we're back. I'm a solo show today. So kind of halfway back, I guess. We're not bringing on an awesome guest. We'll get back to that really soon. And I do apologize for kind of the brief hiatus in new shows bringing out to you guys. So before we kind of get into what we're going to talk about today, this probably won't be a super long episode, but I do want to, as always, recognize the awesome sponsors of our show that have stuck with us, and just they're great companies. And the first one's TeamBuildr, and they are the leading software for high schools and colleges for providing coaches ability to write programs online, generate over 13 reports, and even train athletes remotely. If you sign up for code BigTime, you will receive a free APRE programming template, which works automatically within TeamBuildr. No more spreadsheets and workout cards to track training maxes that change day by day. Automate your programming without outsourcing your programming with TeamBuildr. Powerlift, they are the second awesome sponsor that we have on the show. They are the leading manufacturer and distributor of heavy-duty strength training equipment for collegiate and high school athletic performance centers around the world. Powerlift brings over 20 years of experience to the strength conditioning world. All products are manufactured in their state-of-the-art facility in Jefferson, Iowa. They're proud to support all coaches making the big time where they're at. As always, big thanks to both of our amazing sponsors for sticking with us, and not only for supporting the show, but obviously just the services they provide for our industry are fantastic. And I'm going to explain a little bit about TeamBuildr, kind of what we're using with them right now. It will just kind of further hammer home the point of how great they've been for us at Jewel during just crazy times we're in right now. So just give you a quick recap, maybe some background on why we haven't had any shows and why we haven't done all this is we're not full-time podcasters. So we try to provide this resource, and it is a blast doing it, but it does require a lot of time and effort and setting up appointments with people and editing and getting it loaded and stuff. And sometimes, guys, just stuff gets in the way, stuff that's honestly more important, just to be transparent. So for example, my wife and I, on April 29th, I believe is the day, I'm pretty sure it might be 28th, 29th, we welcomed our second child, a beautiful baby girl, Rosier. And that's been awesome. She'll be 2 months here in a couple weeks, and she's just been a tremendous blessing to my wife and I. And my son Macklin's 3 now. He turned 3 about almost exactly a month later, end of May. And he's been just a wild man and starving for attention at times, but also being just an awesome big brother. He's very proud, and it's just been a tremendous blessing for our family. But as you know, for those who are listening who have kids, one child's a lot of work. Two childs. It's probably not the best way to say that. 2 children is just a little bit more. So I'm still trying to figure out kind of time management and the best way when to get work done, while also trying to balance being a great father and a great husband. So that's been my priority for a while, and I'm still working on it. I've had a lot of work to do, honestly. So there's been that, and then also just, and I know everybody listening to this has felt this as well, just with the COVID stuff. We just started training our athletes a couple weeks or last week. I'm going to get to that here in a second, kind of what that's been looking like. But honestly, I've been just as busy. And maybe not just as busy, but just because my routine has been switched up a little bit. It feels like I've been just as busy, but I don't know about everybody else. But just balancing all the just transitions from athletes moving from a bodyweight program to possibly having equipment, trying to keep track of all that, who's on what program, and then it was pretty simple for me early on in this process because we were so far out for everybody still. I kind of treat them all like off season, so I basically had everybody on similar programs. But as we transition into June, my fall sports they're getting close. We're not. It's right there. Assuming we're going to start on time in August. So I'm trying to transition my fall sports into kind of a typical program they'd be a program they'd be following in a typical year, while also keeping everybody else still basically on kind of a general off-season program with our take-home workouts. They're always kind of very general and basic, balancing newcomers coming in and coaches wanting their incoming freshmen getting going and stuff. And it's been good. We got it figured out, and TeamBuildr has been huge for us in that process. So for those who do have TeamBuildr, and I'm going to walk through kind of my process a little bit, or I guess how I have it set up. If you got a simpler way or a better way, please let me know. All ears. And if you don't have TeamBuildr, you're still doing your workout cards and stuff. Maybe this will decide you or make you decide to switch over, because I think if you haven't made the switch yet to an online platform, obviously TeamBuildr is the one we support here, and they've been tremendous for us. But I think that's where it's going, man. I think you need to do it. Take the plunge and go for it, because that's just where this industry is going. And I think online remote training is going to be a much more consistent thing moving forward, is just my prediction. I'm a 28-year-old idiot, so maybe all you people who are a lot older, a lot more experienced, can just shut me off now if you want. That's fine. So with our TeamBuildr, again, this just allows us to do so many things to keep in contact with our athletes during this time. From the messaging feature has been awesome. I can message an entire group and not get blasted with 700 texts to my phone, and just be on my phone the entire time. I can just message an entire group individually, send it through their emails as well, check in with everybody. I can check in with our athletes much more efficiently, push out notes to them like, hey, this is the focus of this week, or hey, reminder to do this, which you just can't do that. At least I couldn't, through text or group meetings or stuff like that. It just doesn't. It's so nice to have this messaging feature within the training platform itself, right where their workouts are as well. We can just kind of connect what you're messaging directly to their workouts. And then, from a setup standpoint, we kind of got, I'll just talk football. We got football on a body weight program. My hope was by July we'd have a good about 80% of our athletes at least in back in the gym, which there's a couple weeks left, so we'll see if we get there. But right now I'd say we're probably 40% have access to a gym, and the rest are still on a bodyweight program. And I'm running out of bullets in my bodyweight stuff, so I really, it's not an excuse. So we'll find different ways. We'll do our job, but we'll hoping to get more and more athletes transitioning to that equipment workout. So we have a calendar within TeamBuildr where we program our bodyweight. We have guys who are transitioning back on campus or on their own program, where I'm kind of actively coaching them, as active as you can during COVID period here. And then you have your football guys who are not on campus but have access to equipment. So you basically got 3 different workouts going within TeamBuildr there. And then it's kind of the same model for the rest of our fall sports, at least the ones I'm programming for. I can't speak for the rest of my staff. And then basically all my off-season teams, I have created a separate calendar to where it's a COVID, I call it COVID-19 off-season program equipment. It's really long. But all my other sports that I'm programming for, so like baseball, softballs, basketballs, basically, if they have equipment, I am pushing them all on that calendar. It's all the same thing. Send me to jail. Baseball and softball and basketball players are all doing the same workout. Terrible coach, fire me today. Get it. But this is just the easiest way for me to handle this right now, juggling all these things. And then if they're not, they're on a bodyweight program. So that's the easiest way I hope that makes sense. That's the easiest way I've had to kind of organize all these different athletes and kind of juggle who has equipment and who doesn't. It's been a challenge. It really has. but it's been working. Our athletes all have workouts, they're training, um, and we've learned a lot. And TeamBuildr has been just awesome in this process. Again, they allow us to run these reports that I can run a report on the uh, softball team in 5 seconds to show who did what. They can leave comments in there and just really connect with them and keep track of what they've been doing. So, big shout out to TeamBuildr for during this time. Once again, I haven't, I say it too much or maybe not enough. I don't know for sure, but they've been just tremendous. All right, so I want to transition a little bit or real quick to um, what I'm doing with my athletes that I just started training. Some maybe observations I've seen after we've had five lifts so far. So to give some context, we have a partnership with the Liberty Hospital here, and they have a sports performance clinic. That's a great facility. Coach Adam Long there and Coach Alex Phillips do a tremendous job. And our facilities at William Jewell College are shut down as of now until August. I think we're going to get in the weight room in July. Keep our fingers crossed that everything continues to go well. But because of that, we can't really train our athletes, our local athletes. So because of that, or we've gotten this partnership to where we've started training some of our local athletes out of this clinic. It's a great facility. They got like 3 racks, a nice, probably like a 30 by 30 turf space. Dumbbells, kettlebells, trap bars, all this stuff. So started training our athletes out of there, and I've been really I'm a big logistics guy and flow guy, and just trying to like knowing your room and how all that works is like really important to me. So I just kind of had a writer's block for like the week heading into that. Once I figured out that we are going to do that, because I knew the facility, I knew how it's going to work, but trying to figure out how to, socially distance, not really share equipment, do all the COVID guidelines that I'm sure everybody's familiar with by now. I'm not going to bore you with mine. They're the same as everybody else's for the most part. Trying to figure out how I'm going to socially distance and operate this workout within a space I wasn't really familiar with was a challenge, 100%. And I made a lot of mistakes with it this first week. So I had a call with Brian Selleck. He's a BTS alum, BigTime strength alum, and brilliant guy, awesome coach. He's out of Avila, and he was one of the first coaches out of the gate here to like establish these guidelines. As one of the first ones to get athletes pushing back in the weight room, which I think is great. He's about 3 or 4 weeks in by now, and I just gave him a call and said, "Hey, we're getting ready to train athletes again. I'm working on these protocols to hopefully get in our facility in July. Like, what are you thinking?" So he walked me through kind of his protocols, and we talked a little programming. And I think he had a great idea. And I hope he doesn't mind me sharing some of his. I won't give all of his secrets away, but he's kind of using a 1x20 system for the first 3 weeks to lead into kind of as that acclimation period. So by, in theory, week 4, you're right back into what you normally would be doing. So he's kind of do a 1x20, then a 1x14, then a 1x2, 1, 2, and 3x8, kind of that last week. And I think it was a great idea. So I got to thinking about that, and I wanted to do that, give that a shot. And it was like a light bulb that clicked for it. It would work really well with the facility I've got, with the facility we're working in right now. So I'll give you my observations on the first week. This is the first time I've tried 1x20, and it's not a full-on, straight out of the book, this is how you do 1x20. It's honestly, we did 2 days of 1x20. We did Monday and Wednesday, and then Tuesday and Thursday, we did more of a traditional lift on how I program, but it's all speed stuff. We got some push bands to do some velocity-based training right before COVID hit, so I've been anxious to get to work with those. So I wanted to try those out, and we're using those Tuesdays, Thursdays. So anyway, Monday we do our 1x20. I got 4 different stations. Each station's got 5 lifts. It's kind of a rack station, so you got 5 lifts on the rack, a dumbbell station. We got kind of a trap bar, body weight station, and a band station. So just based off the room, that's how it's set up. And athletes kind of go through it. They do one set of 20, move around, and they're done. And for the first day, there's a lot of complications for me with it, just because it was different for athletes. They've never done anything like that before. They're really confused on what we were doing. So trying to explain it to them, get them back in the swing of things. But once they got it, they moved around pretty well. for the most part, and it timed out okay. I had about 8 athletes in 2 different groups, so it worked out okay. And then um, Tuesday, we did again, like I said, we want to try out these velocity-based these push bands. So what I did with that is I just I just put 135 on the bar on front squat, and I said, it's the first day doing it. I want you to just move 135, 3 sets of 4, as fast as you possibly can. Record your fastest rep from each set, and that was awesome. The guys loved it. My goal with that is to kind of get heavier every week here moving forward. Like this week, yesterday we did 155. It works pretty well. I liked it a lot. Obviously, there's a million different ways of velocity-based training. That's the way we're doing it right now within these time constraints, and it's their first day using it. And they got about 5 minutes on that rack before the next group needs to slide over to it. So I don't have times to do all these zones and stuff. We'll progress to that. And then we'll do some stride outs on Tuesday as well to finish the lift out in the parking lot of the clinic, about a 60-yard stride out, just to get them back. It's basically a tempo run, get them back moving a little bit, and that just smoked half of them the first day. It's like, okay, really, and it's like, okay, yep, reinforces, really be cautious with these kids coming back. They are not in shape. They are not. And then Wednesday we'll do 1x20 again. Same exercise. The goal initially was like, all right, now we want to do it heavier. But so many of our guys, especially with like the barbell station, just overshot everything. And so and that's my fault as a coach, 100%. So I need to set max, kind of cap the weight that he can do, and I capped it too high. I did cap it, but I capped it too high, and guys are missing reps, or technique had a break, so I had to stop them in the middle rep on rep 13 instead of 20. So we ended up probably going lighter day 2, but the movement was so much better, and they got a lot better on the day 2 of the 1x20. And then Thursday we'll finish more like velocity based stuff. That day we're doing a hang power clean, so we're using peak power on that. Push band allows us to go between mean velocity and peak velocity. So we do the peak velocity on that. Same thing. I set it at 135. Moving that thing as fast as you can. I told them, like, our 2 overarching mandates on velocity-based training is the technique doesn't change to get a higher speed, and you move the weight as fast as you can regardless of the weight, which we always do, regardless of whether we have the push band or not. But we're not going to change technique. So it's all about like hammering technique on the hang power clean and seeing how fast they can move it. And my goal with that, again, the next 3 or 4 weeks, as I'm just transitioning back into it, is we're going to get a little heavier every week. We'll get 155 this week. Next week, maybe we'll push up on 185, see how we're doing. We'll see how we do on that on Wednesday. But overall, that's kind of the format. And then Thursday, we'll end with some band running, kind of a continuous band series. We do more of an aerobic bass type stuff. And kind of my observations after the first week, as I look back on it, we got a lot better as the week went. And this is what I told the guys and the ladies at the end of the week. We got a lot better as the week went, from a movement capacity standpoint. But I think it took a little bit for them to really get locked back into like doing stuff right, which was a little disappointing for me, honestly. And that's what we addressed last week, is like, people who are really successful just do really simple things really, really well and consistent. They don't miss, and being intentional. And if you're a 3rd-year guy here and I have to tell you to stand all the way up on a step up, that's a problem, man. Like, that's a problem. Why do I have to tell you to stand all the way up on a step up? We've done that exercise a million times. It's stuff like that was my problem with some of our athletes this first week. Is it was kind of an open lift type scenario, because I know I'm not trying to actively coach as much. I'm trying to stay back. So I didn't control that room good enough. And that's changing moving forward. And we had our first lift this week on Monday, and it was awesome. Way better. And we kind of set the tone right out of the gate. Hey, we got our first week back underneath us. We figured out the COVID thing. We're going to operate this way here for the next at least 4 weeks until we get back into our weight room, which will be a whole nother environment. But okay, let's get dialed back in here. Let's do stuff right. how you know you're supposed to do it, execute it the best you can, and move on. And then we'll keep progressing here. But we can't we can't progress if you think this is really boring and this is super easy, which for some guys it is, and some guys it is not at all. Well, we can't progress until we do this right. So show me you can do these simple things really well, and then okay, I'll give you some ice cream. I don't even know what that means. Okay, so I did want to just some observations off of that, and then I'm going to wrap this up. My observation, like, I really didn't know what to expect out of the conditioning level of these guys. So day one, I didn't really test anything. I kind of watched their warm up. I tested vertical jumps. The only thing I tested coming back. Put them on a vert mat, give me 2 good jumps. And I had 3 guys set PRs, 3 out of 12, which I thought was great. And then the rest of them were within like a half inch of the last time we tested, which had been early March. I was encouraged by that. I think. I mean, I am encouraged by that. Because some of and I kind of asked them, the guys who had been trained, the guys who PR'd and the guys who were there, they'd been pretty consistent with the body weight training, the jumps and the sprints, and all the different plyos and body weight circuits we've been giving them. I was encouraged by that a lot, very encouraged. And then we got into the lift, and I could tell, some of the movement type stuff, especially the loaded movements, even if they were light, it's going to take a little bit for these athletes to just get back into feeling that weight on their shoulders or on their back or wherever you're having it, in their hands, and getting those movement patterns back down. Because Monday was kind of a shit show, excuse my language. But then they did that 1x20 again on Wednesday, and it was 10 times better. Still not great, but 10 times better. And I think a lot of that is just getting that, even if they've been doing it, lifting for a long time, taking 2 months off, getting that pattern back down is a big thing. So don't be shocked by that if you haven't worked with your athletes back yet. Let me know what you're finding. If that's kind of what you've seen too, great. If you've seen something completely different, or what I'm saying doesn't make sense, let me know too, because that's what we're on this thing for, to help each other and get better. So, and I think just the conditioning levels are not there. I mean, we did 6 stride outs, and they're gassed, which is fine. We'll progress them to it. We're responsible with it. We're following kind of those NSCA recommendations of the 50, 30, 20, 10, 17, 40 recommendations. We're doing those things. So, we'll keep progressing, getting better at that. We do have time. We have time, and as we get into July, we'll be cooking by then. So I'm gonna wrap this up. And again, I really, for everybody who's loyal listeners of our show, thank you so much. We really appreciate you guys, and we really don't know exactly who you are, because we haven't really created this, this engagement with our listeners as much as we probably like to. But we do know there's hundreds of you, which is great. My son just came down from waking up in the morning. Hey, buddy. So thank you, and we're going to keep pushing out shows. I can promise you that, and we'll keep getting great coaches on here. So my last call for action is, if you do have a coach that you're dying to hear on here, or you want to be on here yourself, please let me know. We'll sign you up, because we're looking for guests right now. We're looking for them. So if you got anybody, please reach out to me. All of our contact info is in the show notes. All right, guys, I'm done. Have a great week. We will talk to you soon. Keep getting after it.